I am the Craft Dad.
All right, folks, Craft Dad back. It's been a while, I know, I'm sorry. So, this project is actually a side project. It's my couch reborn. So, this is a couch that forms a half U shape. This is part of the couch, half of it. The other half is very similar, but just a reflection of this. And so, we no longer fit it in the main room. We put it in a side room that's a lot smaller, and we needed to modify it. So what we started doing is first we stripped it. Took off the old fabric because the kids have destroyed it. It's smelly, it's dirty, you can't really clean it very well. But underneath it, it's still very clean and good to use. Good bones. Now, being a craft dad, I don't want to just reupholster it. I want to change it. Because it's too big to fit into a room and I don't want it taking up more than half the room or blocking an exit or more than half the wall because that angle part just leaves such a large gap behind it. So what I decided is I'm going to cut that off. So, and I didn't want the arms sticking out anymore. So as you can see here, I started cutting the arms. I took off the wood pieces, took a lot of digging out of these huge staples, were just really painful. Took the staples out, cut it off. I disassembled the pieces one by one, cut off the extra extension there, and that's what you see here as part of the guts of that extension. And it's really all that's underneath is hard wood, and if you tear it up a little, that doesn't matter because it's going to get covered right back up. So if you have an old couch, don't throw it out. That's like $1,000 to $2,000 worth of material and wood and stuff there that you can reupholster and do. So what you see here is I'm combining the two couches. Now, because they didn't line up exactly perfect, I had to do some sanding and stuff, but then I did wood glue, stuck it together with my clamps, and then what I did next is I did a whole bunch of screws. I'm talking tons and tons of screws because I really wanted that middle section to stick together. And what I ended up finding out is that once I got the middle section lined up nice and well, the sides didn't sit very well. So I ended up having to add wood where the feet were at and modify it a bit in order to get it to sit perfectly level as one whole piece. So I turned this from basically a 4.5 seater with that angle in the middle to just a straight 4 seater. And that's what you see here. And you can see all the screws right up there in the middle going all the way back. I'm making sure this thing is holding very good together. Now what I should have done was probably Gorilla Glue instead of wood glue, since the Gorilla Glue expands to fill the gap. And so what you see here is I'm using my staple gun and I'm putting the foam back on. Now because I modified the way it looks a little bit, I'm able to reuse the foam and cut some off and have some extra to make sure it's still cushiony. Cover those corners to make sure if one of the kids falls and hits the corner, they don't split their head open, which is not something I really want. But because all of the cloth on the outside absorbed and took in all the nastiness and dirtiness, the underside was really nice and clean. I mean, there was really hardly any stainage that I could notice. And this thick material, this white material in the foam, this stuff is expensive, crazy expensive, too expensive. So being able to reuse it, that was awesome. Now you can see here, I've got a bit of sweat going on. That's because I just came from the garage. And man, over here where I'm living with the humidity, it is torture being in the garage. But so we worked on stapling everything in, and it didn't matter because it's going to get covered with cloth, and so you won't be able to see the staples. The staples are just to hold the foam in place so that you have that nice cushiony effect again. Now I'm using a regular staple gun, but really what I needed here was a pneumatic staple gun. The staples didn't go all the way in, and that's why the wife followed up behind me, hammering everything in once I stapled it. So you can see here, this is the under part of the couch, and I just reused what was there. The pieces that I took off, I used that to cover the rest. And so what you see here is I'm now fabricating the cloth. Now you're supposed to go with upholstery fabric, which is supposed to withstand like 52 something thousand seats on the couch. Well, you know what? The couch is not going to last the destruction of my kids. So I don't care if I can sit on it 52,000 times. I just want it to last for a couple of years during the youthful age of my children as they destroy it and get drinks and spill and this and that and whatnot on it. So here's me and here's the wife, and because I reshaped the arms, they weren't exactly square. And the way I did the sewing is I kind of did it as a square shape. So she's fixing it up so that it fits in better. And then I followed up with the sewing machine once I get the idea of what it is she's trying to do. And it ends up coming out really nice, and you really can't notice that the arms have been modified there. Now the fabric I used was rated as like 500 something. So in this picture here, you can see the backing. I did more of a cushiony backing. I made it so that we could shove in the old material from the cushions. Now what you also see is we just covered the seating with some cloth at this point because we ran out of money to buy the cloth. Here you can see we've sliced the cushions in half, covered it with a black cloth material to make it nice so there's not too much red. And then the backing, we took out all that stuffing we did and we stuck in the other half of the cushion we spliced in half. And it actually came out really nice. And as you can see here, my littlest son, Ray Ray, he approves of the couch very well. He loves it and he happily falls asleep on it. So if you're wondering if you can do your own couch, don't be afraid to do it. Give it a try. You never know. In the end, if it doesn't work out, you can throw it away.